and start the broadcast. So at least
Well, I
that
know
part.
when I got sent from elementary school to junior high, I went from a little, one hallway school with two classes in each grade to a two-story school that you had, and then you're changing classes and it's shaped like this. And so you might be upstairs up here and you have to get down and go all the way over here. And the first 3 days that I was at that school, every morning when I got up, I got sick to my stomach and I threw up. And my dad let me stay home a couple days because he thought I was really sick. And then he figured out it was nerves. And so he put a stop to
Who
it.
is that on the
And I
end?
started getting sick in the morning. He yelled at me.
Who is that on the end?
That's Tanya.
Collect. Oh, this is Tanya here?
Tanya, lower right.
Oh, I
This is a
don't
picture of her
even
left.
recognize her.
Heather, well,
Yeah,
Heather.
yeah. Heather's invisible. That's okay, Heather. Hi, Heather.
That's her superpower, invisibility.
I think we'd all like to have that power, Heather, a lot. Oh,
And we're
Okay.
waiting for our fearless leader. I haven't had a text from Mark yet that he is on his way or.
Anyway, they just gave me some
Vice President, I
inflammatory medicine. It's
Yeah.
not-
yeah.
Good. Do they think the Proleus?
Mhm.
I did. Are you vice president?
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
think so.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because he always asks me if not.
Yeah, you're lucky I'm here.
So,
Because
oh, well, we do
Proleus
have
known
enough for.
for-
Yeah.
Yeah, we have enough. That's what I was.
We can do that.
Friday,
Mhm.
so.
You want to start?
I have 6:31. I mean, I could
The
check.
car that just went around the corner, what color is Mark's car?
I
Is it
have-
silver?
I don't know.
Does anybody
I
know?
don't know because it's not the car that I used to see her drive, so I don't know.
Okay,
Oh.
so let me just.
Just getting into first base.
We'll give him a few seconds and then I'll move on.
You can always take over when he sits down.
Well, and Tracy was going to Zoom in and I haven't seen her join the party yet, so.
No, today's our first day?
Schools are starting all over, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
Makes it a little bit of a challenge for her.
Okay. Well, if he doesn't pop through the door in a second, then we'll start.
Okay.
And just to remind everyone that I am broadcasting this live through YouTube. So when we go into executive session, we'll, obviously stop all of that.
Right, right.
And as soon as we actually when you're ready to officially start,
Sure.
let me know so I can actually start recording it as well.
Well, we might as well.
Okay.
The sooner we start, okay?
Let me.
Call to order, roll call.
Ooh, don't you like how it tells us that?
Oh, it sounds effective, doesn't it?
Well, go ahead, start roll
Okay.
call and then
Yeah.
maybe by the time we finish
Kathleen,
Present.
Barb,
here.
Karen,
Yeah.
and Sue.
Here. Do we have a quorum?
We
Yes.
do.
Yeah, we have
We
enough.
4 of you right here.
We got 4.
We have enough to.
Just, we have
That's
it.
it. We're it. Whatever we decide is
Correct.
law.
right.
Okay, public participation.
No, but I have recorded that the managers are all joining us by Zoom. Here he is.
Oh,
Mark
good.
just walked in the door.
See?
So Mark will be
Good.
joining us as well.
Mark?
I
Mark.
think he was taking a box to the front desk,
Oh.
maybe.
Not seeing her.
I know, it was not a figment of my imagination.
Well, that's all right. We'll continue. Public participation. Do we have anything?
We have had no requests for the public to address the board,
Okay.
so.
Do you guys have anything to say of importance?
Well,
qualified.
but yeah, I was gonna say the bar is set really high now.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, gosh.
I'm sure they will chime in.
He should be
when-
here.
Later on when they get asked questions, right?
I'm hearing.
I hear his
Yes.
voice.
And can
Can
you
you hear
can you all hear us okay, you people on Zoom?
Oh,
Is the sound all right, or do we need to speak more clearly into the microphones?
well, I can't hear anything anyway, so it doesn't make any difference.
I don't hear any response. If they're here,
I know, they're not,
all laughing.
they're going, ha ha, struggle on your own is what they're saying.
Can you hear us?
They
I don't
can.
think
You
they
did say
can.
Mark is.
Oh, she's shaking her
She's
head.
shaking her
Okay,
head.
okay.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Good, Heather.
So no side conversations. then.
Okay, we'll be good. We'll try.
Sorry.
No, no, you're fine.
Work drama.
Oh.
Love it.
6:30. I'll be right with you guys.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
well, we could do them.
Yeah, we can continue on this. What about the approval of the board last meeting, the July minutes? Is
I
any-
move to approve.
Okay,
I'll second it.
good, that's good, okay.
Harold's not here. Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes?
Sue,
Yes.
and Kathleen.
Yes.
I think it's in the air. Okay. Correspondence?
Correspondence, sure. So Public Library Fund for August to the county was just under $109,000. So our share was about $67,500. And PLF money, if you recall, the House, the state's new budget left libraries at 1.7% of the general revenue fund. So that right now, revenues are coming in strong, and we'll take it as long as that's happening. I am not an economic forecaster, but I have my doubts that this can last forever. So we'll see what happens, right? And we'll just keep on going relatively conservatively and make sure we have enough to operate. Mark did sign on the board's behalf a letter to ABCAP because they had to have documentation that it was okay for me to serve as the library's representative on the ABCAP board. So I just included a copy of that letter.
Did you like my signature?
I did. I thought that's better than mine
Oh, that's-
electronically. Yeah,
That's with the draw
a drop.
function.
Mhm. That was pretty good,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, when they look like that, then we know you did it that way.
And then as far as Ohio Library Council, I made notes of a couple of significant items there. Some things that you should be watching about, that redistricting is coming up. So that will be, I'm sure, in the news. Other things that have been mentioned from Ohio Library Council are the fact that all Ohio's libraries are eligible to continue participation in the food distribution. Typically, that's based upon the percentage of students who have free or reduced lunches, but of course, all that's been waived under the pandemic conditions. So we all get to still do that. Although Heather could tell us whether or not there's actually any real details that we know about at this point, since it seems to be sometimes there's a challenge getting timely details from Children's Hunger Alliance, who we work with. I don't know, Heather, anything to say?
Well, our representative, or the lady that's always who we worked with, just left. So now we have a surprise person, and she just told us last week, after we'd already submitted all the applications, that we can only do serving within a 2-hour window.
Oh,
So-
no.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's not very handy for a lot of our families who
No.
need the service. So, yeah, well, I'm sure you will be back and forth about that, and you may hear something else. So we'll see how that goes. OLC is holding their annual convention in person. It's going to be at the Convention Center in Columbus this year, October 13th through the 15th. And so managers and I will be talking about who's going, for how long, the whole convention or not. And then the state also had done a finder tool. I'm going to talk about this months ago, where they're setting up a single location where anyone can go and find out what technology support there is in their geographical area. So if you need free Wi-Fi and you happen to be traveling through Canton, you could put in the zip code or search some other way by that location and see where you can get free Wi-Fi or mobile printing or that kind of thing. But it's up to every entity to actually go to this website and enter all of your data so that the data is accurate. So we're in the process of doing that right now. And I see Tracy is entering here. So Tracy will be joining us. And actually Dawn Sherrill is doing that for our organization. Other than the Finder tool, what other things? This is very interesting to me, and we'll probably talk more about interlibrary delivery later, but OLC has actually entered that conversation as well in my 24 years with the library system. I have never seen Ohio Library Council get involved with something that is the state libraries at this level, but because it is not working out, this new contractor is not working out the way it should be, Ohio Library Council is also kind of using their leverage and influence, power, whatever, to try and make sure that it gets corrected as soon as possible. So that to me has been very interesting that they got involved. Fiscal Officer Workshop by OLC. I just saw a notice today that if you want to do it, September 10th. I think it's all half day online.
Okay.
So, and then announcement for next year's OLC convention, which will be in Toledo. And that's at the end of September, the 28th through the 30th. So I'm seeing that that's probably going to conflict with the county fair. We got a year to worry about that. And then one thing I did not include on the list, because this is a funny, and this is courtesy of Tanya because it got delivered to her, and I'm sharing this. This is a letter of intent for vacant land. Timothy Kraus from Done with Land LLC is offering to buy the property described as S2074.70, a land Mount Orab Village, Western Brown Local School District. The only thing I can possibly think of is that, this is one of those, how you get, you've got money sitting out there. We'll buy your whatever. Is that they pulled old records from when we had maybe gotten the Mount Orab plot while it was still the plot, because we don't have anything else in Western Brown School District. And because they're willing to pay us $15,956 in cash. Wow. And they'll pay all closing costs.
For the library?
For this land.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
they'll pay us a down payment of just under $2,000 and then spread payments over 84 months to us. Or they won't put a down payment and they'll do it over, whatever. So I just thought that was really funny. So thank you, Tanya, for sharing that and not just tossing it. And that's all I have for
I just realized it's 6 against 1 tonight.
What a shame.
Yeah. Okay, so next on the agenda is question and answer session with Heather Patton.
Oh.
I think her internet is becoming unstable.
It is coming very unstable.
Breaking up.
Okay, who wants to start? I'm teasing.
We know that.
That's because she's not here. So, all right, Ms. Sarah, financial report.
All right, ladies and Mark. Appropriation summary for July. Our salaries were at $55,679. Those were down about $3,500 from June. Employee fringe benefits, $15,644, up about $1,000 from June. Purchased and contracted services, $13,689. That was down about $9,200. Library materials and information, $22,407. And then supplies, 2,259, that was up about 7,300 for the month of July. Bringing our month-to-date expenditures, 116,668. And that was down about $10,743 from June. Bank reconciliation, we had a lot of receipts for the month of July. We had 332,000 in money coming in. That was $92,287 from PLF. We received a nice tax rollback of $232,711. And then we got some third quarter lease things back for $5,360. So it was a nice month for receipts. Payments, $117,844. We had no adjustments, bringing our adjusted bank balance to $1,205,058.54. Outstanding payments. I have one outstanding payment for one of our employees that is a newer employee that gets a live check, my one out of every employee. So I have an outstanding check for him dated 7/30. That's my only outstanding payment. Cash summary by fund. We already talked about our July expenditures for all funds was $116,668. Cash, what is this called? Cash summary or general fund cash flow. Total fund revenue was $330,811. So that was all my receipts. And then our expenditures out of the general fund was $109,681. The expenditure reconciliation report payments, $49,007. My two payrolls, you can see one was $28,426. One payroll was $27,802. Our OPERS retirement for the board was $7,802. Medicare, $785. Health insurance board portion, $4,537. Local taxes, you can see employee health out of paycheck deduction was $1,123. So total payments, $116,688. Payment listings, any questions about any of those payments?
And a lot of
There was
those
a bunch.
credits were
Yeah.
for summer reading program
Yeah,
reimbursement.
so it didn't show adjustments because I completely just.
There you go. Let me move it. It's okay, Barb.
Sorry.
It's okay. There's a lot of stuff.
Talked a whole bunch. Last report to go over is the fund summary. For the ending month of July, I had $99,200 open in POs. And once again, my month-to-date expenditures, $116,668.
Isn't it nice when it balances? Yeah.
So. Questions?
I do. So the property tax, then we've gotten everything we
Yes.
think we're gonna get for the year.
Yeah, that was the second half.
Okay. And it came in slightly over what we had anticipated, the two lines together?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep, slightly over.
okay.
So we're ending that on a positive side. Yep.
That's good.
Any questions for Ms. Sarah? If not, I'll need a motion, please.
I will make a motion. I will second.
Okay. Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
I need a motion to transfer $50,000 from the general fund, 1000-910-1000 to technology fund, 2002-931-0000 per approved 2021 permanent appropriations.
So this is money that when you do the approve the permanent appropriations, we say, well, as we get closer to the end of the year and we see how much money we have, we'll be transferring these to special funds. And we are anticipating spending some money on technology. So I'd like to get that money. I can't remember if we didn't talk about what the actual balance was on the cash flow report for what we anticipate having at the end of the year. But if you have any doubts about our stability there, even with the transfers we anticipate carrying over almost $300,000 extra into next year beyond our minimum fund balance. So we are in a really good position to be able to make this transfer now, even if money starts slowing down a little bit towards the end of the year. So that's why we're asking to do this now, so we can be ready to make those purchases.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, on to the librarian's report, which is going to be the building report.
So now it can be Q&A to the manager.
Well, right out of the gate, wolf puppies, coolest thing in the whole world. Has anybody been around wolves before?
Yes.
No, just when they bring them to the library.
Yes.
So they have a timber wolf reserve out in Colorado that we got to visit. Just gorgeous animals, majestic. And to hear them howling, I mean, the puppies are just the cutest thing in the whole world. What a great idea for Fayetteville.
Yeah.
We had a great turnout. It was, I think it was our biggest family program for all of summer reading program.
Wow.
They're from Ironwood Wolves, and we've worked with them before as a library system several times with different types of ambassadors that they bring. And we were fortunate that for Fayetteville, they brought wolf puppies. So that was awesome. That was the first time we had ever had wolf puppies, that I've been involved with. So.
Well, and how many times in a life are you going to be around a wolf or a wolf puppy? For me, it's once.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so really neat stuff.
And I think that the library being able to be the place that provides that is a really big deal. So kudos to managers and their staff for, developing great programs that are, going to expose all of us to that kind of thing. Yeah. Any questions about anything? I mean, it's summer reading program. I think that if we didn't include them, I'll pass around pictures of pictures of Christmas in July. Yep, we passed those around, or I sent them, I think, in your packets. Just a neat time.
I think after last year's shutdown, I think people were ready for this, because if we had the best summer reading program everywhere, I mean, all the libraries did. I think people were ready to have something, and our library staff rose to the occasion.
They did. So generally, a question to the managers, did you see people you had never seen before? Were there a lot of regulars? Any kind of thoughts about, the response from patrons?
Gee,
Don't all
talk.
None of them are unmuting. Tanya, it must be your turn, because Amber and Heather already spoke, right?
I haven't heard Heather speak. Heather?
I agree. I think people were just ready for the programs. They were ready to get out, and we had really good turnouts for all of our programs, really good response, and just a deeper level of appreciation shown this year, I think.
Because there are a lot of new faces.
Well,
Okay.
the kids are growing up.
Yeah.
We've got
I was gonna
that.
say, I
age.
don't know that we had a lot of new faces, but we had a lot of faces that we haven't seen in a long time. So they were so excited to get back into the library. And it was crazy because some of the kids, I mean, it had been a year really since they brought them in or more. So they've grown so much, and trying to get them back into what it's like to be inside of a library. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was somewhere where I was I was at a music rehearsal and was kind of complaining about how loud the monitors were. And somebody looked at me and said, well, you work in a library all day, it's quiet. I said, you haven't been in a library for a while then, have you?
I do have a correction.
Okay,
Under my success, I said we had 102 children participate. Well, after we did the survey today, I had to go back and I had went off of the spreadsheet of registrations. And we had actually 140 because we had several kids that participated with reading logs but never registered.
Ah,
Good.
140.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's good.
That's why they had to make so many buttons, right?
Right.
The great button fiasco. Yeah. Making buttons when there are, how many thousands of them did they end up? Yeah, between all the branches, it was nuts. But it was really good. I think the buttons were really well received. It was a great idea. And I think they found some ways to tweak so they're not having to come up with so many button designs and make so many of them. If there are no other questions, conversation about the building report, I'll give you just a couple.
I don't remember if we had a, sorry, it cut me off and I got delayed. I was just going to say, I think we made like over 2,000 buttons or something like, or we handed out over 2,000 buttons that, or something like that. So.
Wow.
There were ones for, a weekly video program that we'd made. There were ones for every story time that they might have participated in. There were several different levels of reading, had they read however many pages and however many pages. So there were several of those, and I can't remember what all else, different ones for teens, and different other age groups. So there were a lot. They could earn a lot. And those kids were proud of their lanyards that were filled with the button swag. I mean, that was, a big deal. Cool. So statistics wise, I found it interesting. I just looked at the Hoopla numbers and our Wi-Fi hotspot numbers because I was curious to see at this point in this year, a little more than a year after the pandemic started and we had to change things up, how were some of these things that were electronic services? How did the circulation change? And in 2020, when we really thought Hoopla numbers had gone up, and they had, we were averaging 515 circulations per month in Hoopla alone. Well, in the first 6 months of 2021, that's gone up by almost 50 circulations per month, by 10% even this year. So and then in 2019, it was 100 less than that. So, that's a service that really has caught on. And I looked at it particularly because we pay extra for it. It's not a service that's free through the state library. So we pay attention to that. And kind of the same way with the Wi-Fi hotspots. Those, I just looked at the first quarter of this year and then the second quarter of this year. And in the first quarter, we were averaging about 74 hotspots circulated per month. And in the second quarter, that was April through June, it went from 74 to 90 per month. And that's more than a 20% increase between those two quarters. I don't foresee that changing immediately because, we know how broadband is in this area. And even if we got some grant money for the county to get, infrastructure built, it's going to be a while before that happens. But we'll keep our eye on that. It will also be interesting to see what happens with the e-cards. That's down the next to the last little section, the category. We have recently transitioned from handling those registrations through our website for just the digital access. We did that all internally, and we've now transitioned that, and we're using SEO has a kind of a module or a program that allows us to, does it for us. And so it actually is almost automatic now when people register, because we could limit the zip codes that were allowed to apply for these cards and all. And so it'd be interesting to see if that actually helps to facilitate people signing up for them. I know it will help our staff because it reduces some of the workload on them.
We've already had, just within the last few days, and I think a big part of this is where we were at the open house at the school, like 24 within the last couple days.
Wow.
E-card reg.
Wow.
But I also had a teacher reach out to me today and said that she has given directions for applying for e-cards to all of her students again this year. So
That's good. Yeah.
yeah.
That's excellent. And then the other thing, just, as something to keep in the back of your head somewhere, the patrons deleted. They will be doing the annual Patron Purge I suspect before the end of this month. So we'll see those numbers in next month. And so don't freak out when you see big numbers, because they do it to clean up the database every year. So any questions about anything else on that report? Okay. Busy. You can see from the numbers, especially the program numbers. Not only exciting, it was a lot of activity at the branches.
How about announcements?
How about announcements? So you've got a whole page of them. And I'm not going to take the time to read over every one of those. And I have a spare copy because they were not, those I wait until this week to do. So they did not go out in your packets, but I do have an extra copy. If you're interested, Mark, I don't know if you want a copy of the announcements, because I emailed them, but you did.
Yeah,
That's
there's one
good.
waiting here.
Okay. Well, cool.
Okay. A special packet.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
special.
Wow. Okay.
Just pretty routine stuff, facilities wise. You'll note that second category where I'd been listing all the different things that we are involved in the community has become its own page, the community engagement activity report. So that maybe was something that wasn't, I don't know if that wasn't in your stack or not, Mark, but there are a couple of things that I would like to point out about this, and you've got some managers on the call, so if they happen to be the ones who are the representatives and you have questions, guess who's going to get to answer those questions about the community engagement. One of the things last night, I had a business advisory council meeting, and I passed out to them, and I'll send these along if you want some, take them. These are bookmarks for the Help Now, which is the tutoring service, and the Job Now, which is the job coaching service that we pay for, and also for checking out hotspots. So since in this business advisory council, there were superintendents from all the schools there, I took the opportunity to say to them directly, hey, if you haven't heard about this, you need to, and you need to send it along to people in your schools who would be, benefit from this. So we are getting the word out. I know that they were taking these to at least some of the open houses that they've been to at the schools themselves. I was not at the Drug Coalition, the most recent meeting, but also in the meeting, the Business Advisory Council, one of the commissioners was there, and he was talking about, it's taken a back seat. The drug problem has taken a back seat to the pandemic, but it is still out there and it is raging. And so he just wanted us to all remember that we're still seeing that in our communities and to be watching for it. I don't know, Amber, I think you're the Drug Coalition representative. I was looking at that 13,000 people vaccinated, and I'm thinking, well, if we're conservative and we say there are 42,000 people in our state or in our county, that's only a third of the population. Now, I don't know if that's the third of the age group that can be vaccinated or not. I didn't do those numbers, but I don't know if there's anything else you heard about that might be of interest.
I heard that roughly 40% was vaccinated of the county. Again, I don't know if that includes those that are, allowed to get vaccinations or what. I will say that they have also recently returned to in-person meetings, and we're not having as many of the different organizations in the drug coalition show up. So we're not hearing a lot of the drug issues that like the drug task force is battling and things like that. A lot of it has been pandemic centered. So there's not been a lot of information changing with the drug coalition. Other than that, they are still, they still help place people temporarily when they need food and a hotel stay that are suffering crisis mental health and addiction issues. And they also will fundraise for little different efforts to fight mental health and addiction crisis issues in the county. So that's currently what they've been working on.
And the Imagination Library, that Megan Stewart is actually our rep with that. Just a reminder that the money that funds our county residents to be able to sign up for that and get the free books every month for their kids up to the age of 5, that has to be raised locally. And, the matching, but the state actually now has a line item that supports that and provides, I think it's 50%. I don't know if anybody else on the call remembers what the state is contributing, but I think 50% of the cost is now being done by the state for each of the counties. And so I think that has a lot to do with how many children now actually who are eligible are participating. Anything else, ladies, from your particular? No, of course not. No, of course not. They have to be voluntold, right? That's the, yeah. So other things, just want to follow up on the funding opportunities. Both B and C, the applications for those grants have been submitted. If we should get full funding, that's another almost $67,000 to help us do things that will support activities and resources that particularly have been helpful during the pandemic and as a response to it. And then Millicron, we actually have another meeting on Friday. They have decided that they are going to gift us with a 3D printer plus training for our staff and patrons. And so I think, Heather, you might know or have a better sense than I do, but I think on Friday we'll find out maybe the timing, what printer they're going to get, who it is that we'll be able to use as the training support for that. So that's exciting.
Yes.
And they're looking to do more than just a 1-year commitment. Okay. So if this works out well, maybe there will be a second one for another building somewhere in the library system, or maybe it will be something else. We'll see what happens. We talked about the transition for the delivery and how OLC has gotten involved. Also, there's at least one legislator that has also been pulled into the conversation. So this is a big deal. They're really are trying to make it happen. Part of me feels a little sorry for the Stat Courier, who is the new provider, because they're trying to ramp up and take over in a time when it's really hard to get employees, So I know that that's part of the issue. I couldn't say that that's all the issue, but I know that impacts them like it impacts everyone. So they're additionally hard pressed to step up and do it right. And then the other one I'll point out, which is kind of a different for us, is number 7, which is that we were alerted to a class action lawsuit against Blue Cross Blue Shield. Basically, they've been accused of setting prices, colluding, whatever that particular statute is. And so it ranges from 2008 to 2020. So it may very well be that we get a percentage of premiums from all of those 12 years back. So we're doing some research to gather the numbers, and we'll see how that works out.
There's bad insurance companies.
I know, they're horrible.
Terrible.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Okay.
All right, on to number 6. We need a motion to approve disposal of property, which is a handout.
Yes, it's a yellow,
Yeah.
light yellow.
The dollhouse is on the outs. Yeah. Well, I remember when it was the inn, I was pretty impressed with it.
Mhm. I think it's just falling apart. It's so well loved, but
Well loved, right? Well,
Doesn't last forever.
the way life goes.
I love the yes, comma, but. dot, 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 dot. So I need a motion.
I'll move.
Okay.
Karen had her hand up, so she can.
Okay, I'll move. Barb's moving.
Which one is first and second? Yeah.
Yeah. First, Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
All right, number 7, I need a motion to affirm submission of application for the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 ARPA outreach grant in the amount of $40,340 through the State Library of Ohio.
yes, this is a federal grant that normally a federal grant, you have to go around to get 27 signatures before you can submit it, but they made it easy. Well, I don't know. I would never say a federal grant is easy, but at least the signature part was easier because I could sign saying that I verify that my fiscal officer, the library director, and the board are aware of and support the grant application. So I signed, but I wanted on record that you actually are in support of the fact that I asked for all this money.
I don't think I've ever seen the word countians.
I made that up.
Countenance?
I made that up. Brown countians.
Oh, county.
Are we Brown Countiers? Brown
No, I'm
County-
good. I just
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
seen it.
yeah. Spell check tries to fix that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah, because you don't want to go with Brown County people.
Yeah,
Or
Brown,
peeps.
no.
No.
Countians.
Yeah,
Brown
Sounds right.
Countians.
Sounds very formal.
Yes.
it's federal, that's why.
Yes, it's federal. And so I just gave you the summary, the abstract. There are several more pages of complete detailed, submission. So if you want the full thing, I'm happy to send it along. But in the interest of saving paper, I gave you what I thought was sufficient to give you a good idea of what, we were asking.
Yeah, I think it breaks it down pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
So if there are no questions, I need a motion.
I will move.
Second. It's your turn.
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
All right, number 8, we are going to review the pandemic preparedness plan and operational status update.
Right, so last month you had said, what are we thinking about? Are we ready for, whatever's coming next? So I just gave you what, this is unchanged from our policy. This is what we approved last year. So we had a policy on hand, and which gives the administration and management team the authority to go ahead and make decisions. And then I put together the purple page, that was in your packet was, okay, what are we looking at potentially doing should things change coming up? I will say that the management team has not had an opportunity to actually meet about this yet. We have a meeting on Monday.
This coming.
Monday. So this is what I came up with from what we had done before, particularly knowing that we had made several plans. We made several versions of whatever, orange, yellow, orange, red, and then phase 3, phase 4, phase whatever. And I think what we discovered was that you can't have something set in stone and go, okay, well, we've been red for 2 weeks. This is what we're going to do.
No,
Because
it
that
doesn't
just
work that
doesn't
way.
work. So we came up with things that we knew were important to be able to implement on site. And so that's what I've described here. Well, in terms of the lockers, we keep doing that. The service hours, it's pretty hard to take away hours once you've given them. So rather than shortening days, if we need to, we'll just close and do only curbside so we can handle the staffing and that kind of thing. So we can tweak them as needed. And each of the branches is different. Each branch has a different number of staff, a different service range. And so if it happens that for some reason, people get sick at one branch and we have to close for a week to do all the quarantining, whatever, well, that branch will, like any other business that you've seen, we're closed until whenever for COVID reasons, we'll go back to doing that. And we're set up now for staff to be able to work remotely. So, we keep on doing that. We still have staff working remotely on, certain days. If you're full-time, it's, at least one day a week. We want you to be off-site doing things away from the building, just so we can maintain that kind of giving everybody space. And because one of the things that we have yet to officially address is the whole vaccination, going down that road. We have to get, or not going down that road, as it were,
Yes.
and the masking. And to this point, I have left it up to each branch and the manager to say, you need to have conversations with your staff members about the fact that, the people coming in our front doors are every variety of what they believe and what they have done or will do. And the people coming in our staff doors are also that same
They've all
variety.
made their own choices.
They've made their own choices, and we just have to find the absolute best balance of making sure our staff are behaving appropriately and protecting, we're doing sanitation, we're doing all those things to make sure that we are not putting anyone at undue risk, with being able to operate the libraries the way they're supposed to be operated.
Well said, Lynn.
So
As long as we're doing what we can, as long as we're addressing it, as long as it's, we have a plan in place. So I think if anybody watches the news, it's ripping across the country again.
Oh, ripping across the
Florida-
world,
Florida
unfortunately.
is a hot mess. And, the front page of the Brown County Press this weekend is cases up in Brown County. Brown County's in the red. Not surprised at all that we're 40% vaccinated, well below the national average. And then the two Miller twins started school today, their senior year. No masks, no nothing, no teachers, no principals. It was just, and that could be a problem,
Yes. Yes.
but
You can't tell. Nobody wears a mask. And if you do, they look at you like, why do you have that mask on?
Yeah.
Well, it's just, really, we have our school board meetings. We have the same woman every month coming and acting like it's, I don't know how to put it,
Like everything that they tell you not
it's
to do.
conspiracy.
that it's not true,
It's like,
that
Oh,
it's really not.
That is really upsetting, yes.
And
We
she's-
don't get any feedback like that.
Yes,
do we?
and we had a young boy from our school that got a scholarship, football scholarship to Mount St. Joe. And this woman made that woman so scared because the boy would have to wear a mask. And his mom got caught up in this woman's,
oh, yeah.
Paranoia.
and the
Yeah.
boy's not going.
Mhm.
Isn't that sad?
That is really sad.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is
Yeah.
so much, there's so much non-scientific talk out there and people trying to push their agenda, even though they think they're doing the right thing because that's what they believe in. I even had to pull myself up short, just said, you're really riding this inoculation thing a little hard on people. But, it's really true. You've got to let people make their own decision.
Yep.
And then we have to live with it.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I
Well,
think, if somebody's uncomfortable and they want to wear a mask, that's fine. And that's what we have to learn to accept, you know, if
You know-
somebody acts, you know, they want to wear their gloves and stuff like
I
that,
just don't
then that's
understand
fine.
how-
We just
How
accept it.
someone
Well
like
said.
that, though,
Well said.
can go out in public and act like it's a big farce when everything you see on TV, doctors are,
Yeah,
you know.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, unfortunately, people are getting all of their information from all the places that are,
Yeah.
are
this is the
playing
first time,
upon
yeah.
emotions
This is the
rather than
first time
going.
that everything
Go to
is
Not on
CDC,
real
go to
level.
WHO,
So much
go
in
to
the-
the AMA's website, and
social
just go to
realm
the science
of
websites and do
information.
the research, you
Yeah,
know, and
It brings
Social
back
media
memories of
is Satan's
polio.
playground.
people's
Yes.
polio
I'm
vaccine.
kidding.
And then when they
Kind
have,
of, Lynn.
when they have a doctor come and speak to the legislature who's telling them, you know, who's a known anti-vaxxerians, telling them that, you know, if you get it, if you're going to be magnetic, it's all about the 5G. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking,
Wow.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah,
and they
there's a
get up and
whole
speak. I
line
mean,
that
a guy
way,
that
yeah.
spoke in front of the legislature,
Yeah. Well,
invited.
And so, you know, one of the things that we have to keep doing is just keeping in touch with our staff to make sure that everyone feels
Right,
heard
yeah.
and feels that
We
they
have to
can
pay
make a
attention.
choice. Tanya and I talked briefly the other day about the fact that when we have our staff development day in November, I will be spending a few minutes, you know, to the entire group saying this, assuming
Mhm.
that we're still all going to be able to, you know,
That
do
was
our
the
staff
thing.
development day the way we have been doing it.
Yeah.
And even if not, I can go to each branch and assure them that from, you know, top down, we're considering both their personal feelings about
Mhm.
whatever it is the choice they need to make, but really pushing we need to just forget where we all personally stand on this and just say, everybody's going to make a choice. You're going to run
Mhm.
into everything. And we
Well,
all have
yeah.
to be doing, you know,
You can-
our due
you-
diligence
yeah, you
to
make
make
your
sure
own
we're not
decision
making.
on how you're going to protect yourself, if that's
um,
what you want to do.
But just, you know, one of the things I want to make sure that you're all aware of is that there's no guidance right now from the
Mhm.
state. The state is not making any,
I
you
know.
all have to do this.
Mm-mm.
I kind of doubt we're going to go back to having that put in place again. And so you may be hearing that this library is doing this, and it's just like the schools can make their own
Well,
decisions.
I
The
feel,
libraries are also going to be making decisions. I
I've
have one of
known-
our neighboring libraries has actually is requiring all staff to wear masks and is also requiring anyone who is not vaccinated to get weekly testing. So
But-
just so you know
Mhm.
that we are taking our stance, and it could be very different than what other libraries are
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah.
there are some people that I know, though, in the small community of Fayetteville that have had the shots, that have gotten the COVID from people that haven't.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
they're
like
not
at
getting
like
as
at a
sick.
funeral. at a
I've heard it
funeral.
too, but they're not getting it as sick. They're getting a sinus
One wound up in
infection.
the hospital.
Well, yeah, but on the general that I've heard of people getting it, they're going to the doctor with a sinus infection or a cold. Or a digestive problem. I heard of a couple of them like that, and they're testing positive for COVID, but they're not ending up in the hospital.
Well, in Ohio, so the recent update, because you guys know
Yeah.
for what I do, I track all of that, but 3 weeks ago, Mike DeWine was on CNN and he said, we're not going to return.
He's taken so much condemnation
Mhm.
from
Yes.
anybody in Ohio. How could he?
He's not locking down. He's not going to do mandatory mask mandates. He went public
Well,
with that. So
you know,
Lynn, you're right,
even-
we're not going to have that.
Even in our schools, it's almost like our superintendents are afraid to mandate it
Yeah.
because the ridicule they'll get from the public.
All you need to
Sorry,
do
but-
is watch the video. Maybe that should have been our presentation. I'm kidding. On the Tennessee School Board to know what's going on in the country. So the school board met to make a decision on mask mandates for their school system, and it just got out of hand.
Really?
And they had to escort the president of the school board with cops to his car to get him out of there with people
Oh,
chasing him
Oh,
down
my
and
gosh.
taunting him and threatening. I mean,
Oh.
it's so,
It's awful.
you know, and
Yeah.
cases in Ohio are shooting up.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know,
Mhm.
last week, the Department of Health for Ohio provided a update, had a press conference, which we haven't had in a while.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
know.
concern
Mhm.
in Ohio, Brown County's in the red. We just have to make sure we're taking care of the library
Right.
and making good decisions, and at the same time respecting, you know, what people think.
What their
Mhm.
choices.
Yeah, that's all.
I don't know, I mean.
But I like
managers,
this, Lynn. Mm-hmm.
That, that's,
Yeah. I like this.
managers, you are closer and hear more directly from your staff members and or patrons than I do. Is there anything that you want to add to what the conversation we've had so far? I mean, we're going to be talking about this on Monday as well, so.
Has there been-
Yeah.
I can ask questions, Lynn.
You absolutely can.
Has there been currently any staff members that have complained about the potential of wearing masks, or have said, I'm never going to wear a mask, or have brought, you know, their own personal agenda to the workplace? Because that's a red flag.
Yeah, right.
Anybody?
We've had no complaints about masks. Sometimes you will hear, and I nip it, conversations usually between each other about the shot, because I have mixed views of the vaccine in my workplace. So I just say, this is not the place for you to argue your points.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably
I can-
best, Heather, to, stop that, because it's not going to end up anywhere good.
Right.
It's, you have your opinion, I respect it. I have opinion, respect it. Guys, it's really not a place to talk about that. You could talk about it after work.
I think Amber was gonna say.
Amber, yeah.
I was just gonna say that I sort of agree with Heather that I know the stance of every one of my staff members at both Sardinia and Fayetteville, just coincidentally. But I honestly don't have a single person that has refused to cooperate, you know, with anything, even if they felt strongly about it. They're all really good sports. And, you know, it seems that the comments that we have had have come from patrons, not staff. So.
Okay, that's good.
No, that is good.
And us not being mask police for the public
Right, right.
just makes that a moot point. We don't have to, you know what, we still have the signs out there that say, we encourage you to wear a mask if you're not vaccinated, but
Well,
who's to know, right? You know, that's the.
I like this because you see where we're trending,
Mhm.
you know, and being prepared. I love it. So thank you for sharing that, Lynn.
Well, I appreciate your asking about it because it does make us pay more attention, you know, even though we think, you know, thinking about it in the back of our heads, making sure it's written so we all have something to go, okay, here's what I need to do. Here's managers particularly, because they're going to see it first, you know, it does somebody come, you know, they're the ones who have to remind their staff, don't come to work if you're not feeling well, you know, don't, all of those kinds of
That
things.
And
is
can
an
send them
important
home.
part,
Kids
yeah.
absolutely can send them home, you
And
know, if
that's-
that's the case. And so that's where most of this decision making needs to take place. And,
Yeah.
and if I'm not being clear about where we need to stand, they're gonna have to let me know so we can.
Absolutely.
We had a work environment for a long time that you would be penalized if you went home sick.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been in a lot of
Yeah.
companies that, you know, they'd rather see you.
That's old
They'd
school.
rather
Yep.
see you come in sick
Yeah.
and get your job done.
Yep.
And we have to, that has to change. all
Yeah,
the
that
way.
has to
Well,
definitely.
nobody is going to perform well if they don't feel well.
Exactly.
Number
Right.
one, you know,
Exactly.
and so we try to make sure that people, whether or not they're benefits eligible, that they know, you know what? Okay, you missed your 20-hour worker, you don't get paid sick time. Don't come to work sick, because chances are we'll have an opportunity for you to make up that time later on. Don't, and I think that helps knowing that
Yeah.
that's the way we're very flexible about that kind of.
And that nips flu, colds, all kinds of things.
Well, yeah,
In the bud,
flu
you know, you don't have it,
season's gonna be, we'll see what happens.
Now, what's interesting, Lynn, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if the board felt that we needed a mask mandate, we could do it. We're not, okay, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
We could do it. Yeah.
because, that's the other thing going on right now where the federal government is not going to mandate masks, but the private sector is.
Yeah, and a lot of the stores are doing it.
A lot of the Fortune 500 companies, which I work for a Fortune 500. So interestingly enough, when they switched us, I think I told you last month from, we were supposed to open August 2nd. They moved us to September 7th. They said there is no mask vaccine mandate at this time. So it was there, and just to let everybody know,
That's good.
until this week, they sent out an email, and we have like an HR system that keeps track of everything for us. They said, we need every employee to go into the HR system and fill out a vaccine questionnaire, and it's got to be done by August 24th. So you go in and there's just some are you currently vaccinated? Yes or no? If it's no, you're done. If it's yes, first dose date, second dose date, and what particular
which
Moderna,
company? Yeah.
whatever. Mandatory for everybody to fill out.
That's
So
good.
you see where that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
trending.
Yep. That's good.
Well, and we are fortunate to have be members of Ohio Library Council as an institution. So, if we get to the point where we're asking ourselves those questions and we really want to discuss any kinds of those mandates, we've got OLC's legal firm to help us roll that out in a way that is, legally compliant
Right.
and all of that kind of thing. So,
It's not going to happen.
yeah,
But, it's just private versus federal.
yeah.
So, okay.
Just so you know, we are looking at it, and I think that we have got everything at our disposal if we need to take action.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, managers.
Yes.
All right, next, I need a motion to enter executive session to consider the employment of public.
I make a motion to enter executive session. Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Mark,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes. Okay, so before I turn off the recording or stop the broadcast and the managers exit, is there anything that you would like to ask them or that the managers would like to offer information about anything, as long as you've got the board's attention?
Or Tracy, you can speak too.
Yeah, you can always speak, Tracy, you just can't vote.
That's
She
right.
said, I survived the first week of school in most places. I'm doing good to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the way it goes.
Okay, well, if that's the case and there is no further conversation with them, I will stop the broadcast and stop the recording. And thank you, managers, for being here. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.